Welcome to the Running with James podcast, where every HYROX athlete, OCR competitor, and the everyday runner has a place. We're passionate about building a community that supports, building confidence that empowers, and building champions who rise. Together, we'll push limits and chase what moves us. Remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. Now here's your host, James Wyatt.
Well, guys, welcome back to another edition of Running with James. My name is James Wyatt, and we have Coach Carlos to my left, and we have Coach Lauren on my right. We are here today to hopefully educate you to a little bit of something, maybe give you a little bit of entertainment as well, because we like to have a good time, and hopefully we won't have any emergencies.
Hopefully not.
Can't handle them.
No. Well, some of us can.
You're cool and collective on the phone.
If anybody in this collective here could handle something like going awry, we know
It's Coach Lauren.
Coach Lauren.
I should be everyone's emergency contact.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, I mean, that's probably not a bad idea because you would probably immediately jump in action.
I was going to say, actually, I think I'm a very good emergency contact because as much as we like to think I thought I'd freak out. I've been in some pretty crazy emergency situations where I had to rush people to the ER, and I handled it very
Just the way you're talking about it, you see how fast
I know. She's very hyped up. That's
already amped up.
I'm reliving that whole scenario.
You don't want me as your emergency contact because I'm going to be like
so frustrated.
I'm going to be like,
I could be
it's
bleeding.
going to be okay.
Yeah, I could be bleeding out, like losing a hand, and you'll be like, "You're gonna be fine. We'll get there when we get there. Don't freak out." That would be you.
Was she there when you busted your thumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was she?
Class.
Was she?
She didn't know what happened.
He walked out of the room so quick, and there was like a baby still in the room. So I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah. Well, my finger was hanging off, so I was trying to not bleed all. That's all I was thinking about was bleeding all over the gym. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bleed on the child either, and I knew it was really bad. But I didn't know necessarily how bad because I was holding my finger because I saw tons of blood. Yeah. And then I ran to the kitchen to rinse it off. And then when I went to rinse it off, and it was hanging off.
Okay, well, next time if any accident happens, know you have a calm collective ready to jump into action.
Well, in the last time I did have to help with an emergency situation, it was also a finger coming off the bone. So I know how to handle.
Where was this?
Jordan, when he sliced his thumb literally almost like dangling off with a table saw.
I mean, we live in a great, we have some pretty, I mean, yes, there's some negative things about it, but we have a pretty good medical system when it comes to like fingers. You know, you cut a finger off, they put that sucker back on.
They did.
And it'll work. It'll
just don't lose it.
Yeah. Just as long as you keep it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have to go shout out to Optimal Healthcare. I went over there and they hooked me up.
Just a little
did she stitch it?
Yeah.
She did stitch it.
No, it was no glue. It
needed the full.
Yeah, it hurt like oh my God. She kept putting she had to stick she was using a syringe to put like deadening stuff because it was gonna have to go through my fingernail because of where the cut was. Oof. And obviously the fingernail is not like something easy to put a needle through. Yeah. Right? Oh my God, it hurt so bad. It hurt. It really hurt. Like my, I'm just thinking about it right now. Actually, my booty cheeks are squeezing together just thinking about it. So, it was intense. But that's something I will have to give her too. Is that she is if for me anyway, Vanessa is she's a very nice lady. Very sweet. But she really likes my wife. They're friends.
She's got that beautiful Southern comfort voice.
She does, but she's not like, hey, James, I love hanging out with you and being around you. You know, I never get that warm feeling from me. And it's a joke that we have, kind of running joke we have going. But her demeanor, her bedside manner was so good.
Kept you calm?
She kept me calm. She made me feel like it was going to be okay. She was trying to be gentle, even though I could tell it was hurting. I could tell she was doing her best not to hurt me and to make it as comfortable as possible. She sewed it on pretty straight. It's only like a little crooked. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. No, it's straight. You wouldn't be able to tell if you looked at my finger that it happened. So I was very impressed with her. Some people I think make great doctors and nurses and practitioners and things of that nature. And some people have no business doing it. She's definitely one that she's got that gift, talent.
Speaking of the gift and talent, I do want to, if I may, give a small shout out to our friend and athlete Victoria, who is coming back to us because she finally graduated from getting her license as an EMT. Yep. Also is going to start seeing some fun traumatic stuff. Very excited about those stories.
Yeah, but her interests and her joy in that kind of stuff really worries me a little bit.
It's a little dark.
She gets really excited. She's like, "Oh my God,
She's
someone
dark.
coded on me the other day."
Yeah, was that what she was telling
It's like
you?
I had someone's heart in my hand and it was beating. She didn't say that. That's how I picture it. This is like, should I be watching my back or something? Like,
yes,
yeah.
100%.
like one day I might be on her table and she just thought, you know what, it'd be cool to like dissect James.
Remember like Pulp Fiction when they go to the needle and the girl next to her is just ready to watch it. You know,
That's really excited.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a little too giddy about the drama and the excitement of all that stuff.
She loves she's calm and collected in like a scary situation for sure. But when she was in school, like I would like check in with like what she was doing, and she's like, "Oh, we learned to do." I don't remember the medical term, but this particular procedure in case someone's lungs are like collapsing or filling up with liquid, and like she's sick. By the way, there's bloody images coming your way, and she just sent me these photos from like a cadaver, like open. And, like, they're, like, messing with it. There's blood everywhere. And I was just like, oh, that's so fun for you. And she's like, yeah, it was great. I was like,
Yeah. I mean, that takes all kinds. I mean, we need people like that to be able to do those types
100%.
things, right?
she's like the female Dexter.
I hope not.
No, that's.
I mean, I could see it, but I hope not. I surely hope not.
I have a question for this one.
Okay, ask her. Don't look at me. Look at her.
No, I'm letting you know.
Because I don't want. I'm not the proxy.
You're the ringleader. You're the head of the circus here. So.
Okay.
Question for you. No. Already.
Oh, you're the head of?
No, I don't want to be.
I mean, she did try to replace me last week. Did you see that?
Oh, yes.
Quickly.
No, so yes,
quick.
it's actually 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
So like the universe has been a little bit out of place.
Yeah.
You've been here before me twice. What's going on? Yeah, that's last week was okay. It was
Can't give my secrets away.
Okay, and then this week I was like, I'm gonna be here. I'm earlier. I was 20 minutes early today.
Yeah.
And she was here.
30 minutes early.
I see. Okay.
She's turning a new leaf, man.
I know. It's just
turning a new leaf.
I'm trying to just get my bearings. Last week was like a gut punch. Now I'm just like. Oh.
I'm banking on. I'm gonna like save up in the bank so I can just make one real big mistake.
No, that's not how
it works.
That's how it works in my head.
She has like.
Doing what you're supposed to do is not like banking goodwill.
Well, hold on.
That's not
okay. Wait. So if that's your mindset, you're like a negative $1 million right now.
True.
I know.
You're still catching up. You don't have any positive. You're still in the red.
You're
you haven't hit
from
black
bankruptcy right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I was actually two things: making a very big effort to better manage my time. So instead of working, my theory is instead of like trying to catch up on work at home and then rush and get here, I'll try to get there early and try to just work there because I still have to work. Also, I was food driven.
Okay. Well, kudos.
So,
kudos to you.
Food driven.
You were hungry and there was food nearby?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, I can get it. I can work on my laptop or try to and then eat my food.
Okay.
That was wise decision making.
Wise decision making.
That's wise decision making. I like it.
See,
old Lauren would have like worked or done whatever at home and then be like, oh, I got time to go get something to eat.
That's exactly
And then went and gotten something to eat and be like, you know what? I could do a little work here. I'm not too late. Not that she wasn't late, but she's not too late.
Yeah, too late.
Right? And then she would have realized, oh, crap. And then she would have driven over toward here and then forgot that there was construction going on.
And the homeless guy that she had, in her mind, was going to give money to the dog.
Exactly. That was going
so she had to
judge her and write her off.
I
right?
haven't seen him this week.
And then she would have eventually showed up. So that's old Lauren. New Lauren made wise choices.
Yeah.
Wise
That's
choices.
good.
New Lauren. We love it.
Only
Proud
took
of you.
37 years, but we got here.
You know what? It is never too late.
Never too late, guys.
To make better choices.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying.
We talk. I mean,
Trying.
we talk about this all the time. Like people make mistakes, right?
Yes.
People make mistakes all the time. And, there's this thing, the 7 deadly sins, of like gluttony and greed and pride and all that. And people make those mistakes every single day.
Every day.
And you can choose to keep making those mistakes, or you could choose to make a different choice. And that's what you're doing, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You're choosing to make better choices.
Proud of you.
Right?
Thank you.
And you know what that does for me?
Appreciate
That motivates me to make better choices.
Oh, good.
You know what I'm saying? So you can be an influencer strictly through your actions.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking to take your running to the next level? Whether you're just getting started or chasing the next PR, my dad, Coach James, and BC Fitness have you covered. Join our in-person or online run coaching. Plug into our free weekly run club and train alongside a community that's built different. From HYROX and OCR to daily group fitness classes at our Houston gym. This is where athletes are made. Come run with us, train with us, grow with us. Visit mybasiCfit.com and start building your best.
Yep.
Look at me.
So look at her. So I feel like she's being a little sarcastic, like in the "look at me" thing, like whatever. Like she's not being genuine.
I think she's being genuine,
but I also don't know how to accept compliments.
You know her; she's about to run off. So that's the only way she can react without running out of here.
Like just leaning back, like
I have to be a little I'm a little rigid. I have to be a little sarcastic.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you noticed, but I'm
easy with the compliments. Yes, she's
it's like digging into her thumbnail.
If we bring up politics, she's done for it. She's
I'm just gonna
explode. So
well, speaking of sinning. That's kind of what I wanted to get into today a little bit. Is I've noticed, as the groups continue to grow, we have new people from different places. Ew. Different types of ways of people working out and training, and we've talked about this before, but like how sometimes like some things just seem like everybody should know it.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So in my opinion, everybody should know how to cook a steak, but apparently everybody doesn't.
No.
Right? When we were in Italy, we were at this really nice place in Florence where I bought a $60 steak.
I was going to
$60 steak.
We're going to tell this story a lot.
And it was not good.
Yeah.
Because they don't season their meat.
Yeah.
And they say they don't season it because the meat is like
superior, naturally
saltier, and they want you to taste the meat. But all seasoning does, salt specifically, is enhance the flavor that's already there. Correct?
Correct.
Right? So, but they also cook it very rare. Like, they just sear it a little bit, And so...
Yeah, I think well done's a very American thing.
I mean, it should be like medium to medium rare. You don't want it rare.
Oh, I know a lot of people who like well.
Anybody that likes well is a not very smart person.
Yeah,
that's very dry and gross.
Looked down upon.
Yeah, that's a cardinal sin.
Yes.
So they obviously don't know what steak should taste like. So, but you think it would be just common knowledge, but obviously it's not, because some people don't season. Some people make it well done. Some people think it's okay to my God, put A1 steak sauce on stuff. None of that is acceptable and should be done. But people do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And so we see all these new people coming in to train and stuff, and they're doing a lot of different things and stuff. And I do feel a little bit like a broken record sometimes, because I feel like I'm repeating the same things over and over again. Like it's going to be, eventually it's going to become annoying. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be like, this guy, I'm tired of this guy talking or whatever. But you see people make, and I don't want to say training, they're mistakes. They are. They're sins. They're messing up. And you don't want them to continue to make those mistakes, because you want everybody to improve. You want people to get better.
Yes.
And you want to see them
reach their goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see them do well, because ultimately people do well. I think they'll believe in what you're selling, essentially.
Sure.
They'll believe in what you're preaching.
Yep.
And they'll keep coming back. If people are feeling they're getting hurt or they're not getting better, then they'll go back to other things that maybe aren't serving them.
Yeah.
A lot of times they come into the new situations with old habits. Mm-hmm. It's hard to rip them apart.
It is. I mean, sometimes it's hard for people who know the right thing to do. They still do it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I have conversations with folks. I had one last week with a couple young ladies. You know who you are. Pause for effect. And, they should know by now that you shouldn't just be doing hard workouts, that you should be doing the easy stuff. But yet they're not running, except for whenever the groups are there, right? When it's fun and on YouTube and on Instagram. And like every time I see them, they're like, oh, my calf, oh, my shin, oh, my shoulder, oh, my this. And I'm just thinking that they're doing what they're supposed to do, right? Yeah. Because they know better. But then when we sit down and we talk, because I'm like, well, we haven't talked in a while. Let's look at the mileage, what you're running. And then we talk about it, and you can see the guilt. You know what I'm saying? You see the guilt on their face.
Mm-hmm.
A look of shame.
Yeah.
Like a dog kind of looks down.
Like, it's just like they don't want to tell you, and they don't want to show you because they think you're going to be ashamed or mad at them. And really all it is you just, you love them and you want them to do better, and you're hurting for them.
You're trying to keep them on the path for what their goal is.
Exactly right. Keep them on the straight and narrow.
Well, you know what they say about common sense? It's not always that common.
No, but what does this have to do with common sense? What are you talking about?
Because we talked about common sense and like things being common sense earlier.
Did we? Did I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I probably did.
Yeah.
She might getting us because we're old and we're kind of forgetful.
No, because she hears certain things.
I'll hold on to something.
And she'll hold on to thing and forget and not listen to anything else because she's
that
holding
one
on
point.
to that one thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I maybe have something to go with it, and I'm like, I can't forget this one thing.
And that makes sense.
I'll forget everything else we've said.
And that's okay.
That's good.
That's okay. So we're going to talk about the 7, and obviously there's more. There's more than 7, but I think the 7 big mistakes that people make in training that really hamper their progression and keep them from, really improving. So almost to a point where they're kind of sabotaging their own success. So what are some things maybe that you've done in the past? We'll start with you, Carlos. What are some things you feel like you've done in the past that have maybe sabotaged you a little bit or led you down the path of destruction?
Overtraining.
Okay. What does that look like to you? Or what does that
when I first started kind of like on my fitness journey, trying to get back in shape, I was going to a gym and they were doing these the less miles, like insanity classes.
Okay.
And I was like,
Les Mills?
Les Mills, yes.
Yeah.
They're like their own group training with insanity classes. So I started doing those. And I was like, oh, these are kind of great. I was, doing a couple a week, 4 might be better, So I started doing it every day. And then one day, excuse me, I went in there and I was kind of on the treadmill running to warm up, and my back felt tight.
Okay.
Instead of just being, probably 3 classes in a row. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to grit and bear through it and do the class. And I did the class and, just a lot of plyo jumping, back and forth, a lot of movement. The next day, my back was wrecked.
Oh, man.
I was literally at the time I was working in an office and I was having to take sitting down that lower back was just killing me. Like every hour I'd have to go to an empty office and sit with my feet up, my back was trashed.
Yeah.
Like I overdid it 100%. And that I was out, at least, 2 weeks kind of.
Really?
Before I could kind of slowly, start feeling loose again. And I kind of took it back from there. So just, more was not better at the time.
Yeah. What about you, Lauren? Have you done the overtraining thing?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I've definitely done the overtraining thing where it's just like constantly going, never really taking a break, never really listening to my body being tired, just thinking, well, I got to keep going if I want to get stronger.
Yeah.
My body's being a little wimp.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yep.
I'm glad we got that awkward pause out early.
I know, right?
Usually we save it for the end.
We do. We usually do. So, well, I think, overtraining definitely is a huge one for most folks. But I think most people don't know what that really looks like. They don't know, because sometimes you don't realize you're overtraining until it's too late.
Sure.
Yeah. So you're already injured, so you're hurt. And so I think a big part of understanding what overtraining is because you also do have that, I hate even bringing him up because he's so annoying to me, but David Goggins, right? The dude just ran that 200-mile race or something like that,
yes.
And I think he was finishing up. I saw a video of him, and he's like, hey, what's up, MFers? What are y'all doing? You ain't doing nothing. People complaining about me. They talk about me. My knees don't work. I overtrain. What are you doing right now? I just ran 195 miles, and I'm about to run 200 miles. What's up, mother effer? What's up? What's up? Where you at? Where you at? Stay hard.
That's good.
And that dude.
Is that literally how it went?
Yeah, pretty much.
Those are kind of word for word.
I haven't seen that.
And the dude's legs are going 2 different directions.
I did notice that.
like his legs, his knees are together, but his feet are out here, and his his body shape is really weird too, kind of. Really thin.
He looks beaten down.
Yeah, he just looks like he has taken a whooping.
Which, 195 miles will do that to you.
Well, he's beat himself with all the other stuff. He's like, I run 2 hours a day. I train. I lift weights. I train hard. Hour and a half every single day. Stay hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I don't know. You're trying to put yourself in an early grave or something. But I think that mentality, I think there's a place for that. Push yourself.
Yes.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Sure.
There's definitely a place for that. But dude,
long. I mean, you've
You have no cartilage left in your knees.
You've seen, remember the bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman?
Yes.
That guy is,
Nobody lifted more than Ron.
No, what was it? Lightweight, baby.
Yeah,
And
lightweight.
The guy looks like he's 100. He can barely move.
He has a little the Forrest Gump walking crane thingies or whatever.
Yeah, so it's very sad to see. But
he's had so many surgeries, but it's just because he was overtraining, and obviously he was using performance enhancing drugs, things like that or whatever. So there's no telling what they did to him.
Yeah,
but like. You got some really great results, but then his career was also cut short because he got injured so much toward the end of his career. He couldn't train right, and his body kind of started changing too because of a lot of the stuff he was doing. And so, when people train like that and they have that mentality, like I said, sometimes it's just it's too late by the time you realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand like the law of progression, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, but literally getting to a place where you schedule in like some recovery days, like you schedule in some sort of plan to work on, making yourself feel better and not always feeling like trash.
I just sat down with a person for online training and I kind of gave him the plan and okay, here's this, we're gonna have a hard day here. We're recovery run, another hard day, and they were like, okay, well, where can I fit these one workouts in?
Yeah.
I was like, tell you what, just for this week, try this out.
Yeah.
And just, see how it feels. Each workout's going to lead into the other one. So, you're going to feel tired, and then, you go easy on the runs. And so they were like, okay, I'll listen to you. And they were like, oh, I'm glad I listened because my legs were sore from the leg workout.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything extra because they were like, well, can I do some more glute stuff? And I was like, just try this workout for week 1 and give it a shot.
Yeah.
So
just try doing the actual stuff programmed before you do anything extra.
yes.
Right? So we can always adapt it.
Yeah.
If it's too easy, we can always make it a little bit more challenging.
And that's what I've gotten from you. And I tell people the same thing. I was like, I can perform or I can, program a workout that just knocks you on the ground.
Yeah. I mean,
Very easy. Here, carry this bag for 10 miles or, but, just where you can still, we want you to still move. It's a program that's supposed to, for 4 weeks progress.
Right.
Not just the first day you kick your butt and you can't work out for 3 days after that.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think that's perfect. Like follow the plan. But before you can follow the plan, you actually have to have an actual plan, right? Instead of, kind of just winging it.
Yep.
And then, plan in some of those recovery kind of efforts or days or whatever. You can get fitness from recovery efforts. I think people don't realize that they can get stronger and in shape from recovery efforts. So, it's a perfect example. You said that you did the, those Les Mills things or what have you. And, how long did you do that, like ramping it up? Like, was it for a couple months? Was it for a few weeks? How long did you do like the 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 a week thing?
Oh, man, it was probably ramped up right off the bat once I found out about the class. I mean, I was overseas somewhere at some gym, and I was kind of like, I would say somewhat at the start of like my fitness journey of like, or getting back in shape kind of deal.
So let's say you did it for 2 weeks, right? Yeah. So in 2 weeks, you're supposed to do, let's say you did 2 workouts. Right, but instead you did 4 a week. Okay, so for the first week, for the next, that's 8 workouts.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you had to take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
So if you'd have just done 2, you'd have done the same amount of workouts.
I would have been.
But it would have been spread out over a month, and you wouldn't have been hurt.
Yes.
So it probably would have done you more good.
So instead of taking a step forward, 2 steps back.
Right, you would have just been constantly moving forward. Right. So I think that's kind of where people are missing things. So having a plan. Progressing with that plan, and then kind of just listening to your body and kind of getting some like biofeedback, like how does my body feel today? So we always talk about like try to refrain from doing back-to-back hard days. Mm-hmm. So if you do a hard day, so the effort today sets you up for the effort tomorrow. So there are times, today or yesterday was a perfect example. So like for me, Tuesdays are a pretty hard day. So when I wake up on Wednesday, I feel like I might have been possibly ran over by a Mack truck. And so last Wednesday, I was supposed to run like 3 miles or so and then also do a bike ride. So I was going to split them up, right? So I did the bike ride in the morning and then I ran in the evening. And I felt fine. Whatever's the The run was a little tough. My legs felt whatever, but the next day I was fine. Well, this week I knew that it's like peak week. So I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to feel like on Wednesday because I was tired last Wednesday. So I'm going to run on Monday, kind of we call it banking
those miles,
whatever, right? Because I felt good on Monday even after Sunday's workout. And when I woke up Wednesday, I was hurting, man. I was like sore. I was tired, And so I didn't go run, right? I still did my bike ride. I still did some like active movement, some stretching, some core work or what have you. But I didn't ride. And then this morning I woke up and I was able to get right back on track, right on back on it. So, could I have gone and ran yesterday? Sure, probably. But in the grand scheme of things, is it going to make me that much better, right? Or was I going to be beat up so that I couldn't have worked out today? Or today would have been even harder. And then that compounds, and then by the time I get to Saturday and Sunday when I'm trying to do those quality efforts, then I don't have the effort and the ability to do it.
No, like you said, you knew how you felt before, so you kind of, like you said, put a little miles in when you felt pretty good on Monday, and then just you still hitting your mileage for the week.
Yeah,
so
that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
right?
that's the goal right there.
Yeah. So, I think getting that biofeedback, and then also, you can use your watches like the HRV performance stuff. Oftentimes if you're a great way to tell if you're maybe a little overtrained or tired is, let's say you go out and do your easy efforts, right? Because everybody that's listening to this, it is the Running with James podcast. It's probably doing some kind of running effort. If you go out and do your run and you're significantly slower to keep your heart rate down, or let's say you're running a pace and your heart rate won't stay down, that is a sign that you're pretty fatigued.
Yeah.
Because you have an elevated heart rate. And so that is a great opportunity to just slow way the crud down and then maybe take a little bit of a break.
Oh, even slower.
Yeah.
Not just
I was actually running with one of our girls here. I run with her on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays I help her do her speed work. So I help her hold accountable to the pace she needs to do for her speed work. And then Wednesdays we get a couple miles in before class so she doesn't have to do them by herself later.
Yeah.
And Tuesday, her speed work, it challenged her. Like, it was really challenging for her. She was really pushing.
Which, if it's speed work, it should be.
Yeah, that's exactly what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. It was really challenging for her and really, took it out. And then yesterday when we did a couple easy miles, granted it was a little hot out, but we were going really slow. Her heart rate just kept jumping. Mm-hmm. And I could tell she was getting frustrated because she was like, why, as soon as we start, it just jumps. I was like, you were really fatigued yesterday when we finished. You were struggling to hold on for the second set. So, yeah, your body's tired. Even if you, you don't necessarily feel it, it's just walking around. Your body's telling you that was a hard effort and you're tired. So we slow down if we need to walk a little bit, or we practice the marching drill and kind of just, do that. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's how we get it done.
Yeah. So I think learning those little telltale signs of when you're fatigued or maybe when you might be approaching overtraining. So if you start getting aches and pains in your Achilles or in your hip or in your knees, or your heart rate is elevated when it's usually lower.
If your sleep starts to...
Your sleep goes down. It's hard. You're tossing and turning more often than usual. Then those are usually signs that you might be overtraining and you might want to dial it back. I'm not telling you to stop training, but we dial it back a little bit and make sure that we're doing the progressions properly. Right? Another one I see happen a lot is running at, you have a race that you're planning on. And so every time you go out and run, you're running at your goal race pace. You got a marathon. I'm trying to run sub 4. So when I go out and run, I'm running 9:07 pace or a 9-minute pace, right? I'm going to run a 9-minute pace because, we got to bank that time, right? So 9:07 is a perfect sub 4, right? So you got to bank that time. So we go out and run a 9-minute mile all the time because the only way to get faster is to run faster.
Obviously.
I actually remember, and I'll be very transparent. I remember having a conversation with someone one day. I saw him at the park or what have you, and this is before I learned the proper way.
Before you were enlightened.
Yes, before my enlightenment. And they were out there running, and I was trying to hit a certain pace or whatever. And he's like, "Hey, can I run with you?" I was like, "Yeah, let's run together." So we were running. And he's like, "Man, you're so fast," or whatever. And I was like, "I'm not that fast." He's like, "Yeah, but you're faster than me." I was like, "Well, if you want to be fast, you got to run fast."
That's
you
what you
gotta,
told him?
Yeah, those were my exact words. I was like, if you want to be fast, you got to go out and you got to run fast. And that is true. If you do want to run a faster pace, you do need to spend some time running that pace, right? If you want to run a sub 4-hour marathon, you need to spend some time running a 9-minute pace or a 9:07 pace. But that's not all the time. That's a very small portion of the time you want to be doing that. And so I've even seen him make posts or whatever about that. Like, yeah, man, he really motivated me to, because I guess he wasn't doing any speed work at all.
Okay.
I guess. And so he took it as like me telling him he needed to start like pushing himself a little bit.
Okay.
He took it the right way.
Gotcha.
That's not how I meant it, because I didn't know what the heck I was talking
I'm
about.
glad he took it the right way.
Yeah, I'm glad he took it for what it should have been rather than what it actually was, because I was a freaking moron and I didn't know what I was talking about. So, yes, you do need to run faster paces. Yeah, you want to do build strength. You want to increase that turnover. But running at goal race pace all the time is just a recipe for overtraining and a recipe for getting injured and hurt, because you're not really building the system that you need to, really build for, especially like things like a marathon or a half marathon. Those are very aerobic specific activities. And if you don't have a strong aerobic capacity, then you're not going to be able to like really crush that event.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? I want to introduce you to the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, a powerful resource to transform your life today. With expert interviews, practical tips, and inspiring stories, this podcast is your roadmap to lasting wellness. Here's what a listener has to say.
I used to struggle with my health, but this podcast changed everything. It's like having a personal trainer, nutritionist, and life coach totally for free.
With over 2,000 five-star reviews, we're a podcast you can trust. The Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
I actually just had a client worked on aerobic capacity for a month.
Okay.
She kind of running was up and down, and I was like, you know what? And she actually great from the start. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to do the heart rate running. And so I was like, for this first month, and I was kind of debating, do I put a little bit of speed work in? But she was following it so good. I was like, I'm just going to have her stick with that. So for the whole month, she just did easy runs, built up her mileage. And then just this week, she did her first speed work. And I was like, I'm gonna just see what this pace is, kind of for like her HYROX goal pace. Mm-hmm. So I had her do like a little tempo run. And she was like, wow. She was like, I hit it, and it was hard, but it was doable. I wasn't dying. So it's just kind of building up that base.
Yeah.
It does kind of, like you said, build your engine up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, for my first marathon, all I did was easy miles. I didn't run any. I did zero speed work. I only did easy pace running. And I think I ran like a 3:24 or something like that. And I probably could have ran faster, but I didn't pace very well.
Oh, okay.
Because when I took off, I felt good, so I ran like the first, I think 19, 20 miles, like way too fast. And then I obviously
hit the wall,
right? And, limped my way in. So, but I did that off of all 100% easy running.
Yeah.
So, all conversation pace, all zone 3, zone 2 running. And, I've seen tons of people. I mean, there's a camp out there that believes in only doing high volume, easy training.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's the Maffetone method or something like that, where you build up a huge amount of just easy pace, zone 2 volume. And you don't even focus on speed work. I mean, you might do some, but it's very minuscule, very, very small. And there's been a lot of people that have improved and gotten much faster because you're building that foundation. You're building the aerobic capacity. Maybe you're not, I don't think you'll be able to like do your absolute best because you're not training yourself to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You're not training your lactate threshold, things of that nature. You're not maybe getting the most bang for your buck. But, I mean, there's something to be said if all you're doing is running slow and you're getting faster.
Volume is key.
Volume is king, exactly. So I think that's a big one. And so I think trusting kind of the process, doing the polarized training where, 80% is easy, 20% is hard. It's kind of that perfect mix, and making sure you're not in the gray zone. And if you're trying to run race pace all the time, you're going to be in the gray zone. You're running too slow to get any, or you're running too fast to get any kind of aerobic benefit, foundation building, but you're also running too slow to get any type of like anaerobic threshold strength training in.
It's just enough where your body's not recovering from.
Yeah.
So you're not getting
but you're just tired enough to be
so
fatigued and get hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've had people before who came to me who were running like that, and they were trying to do that, and they couldn't get past like 10 or 12 miles. And, they would go do a long race, like a half marathon or a marathon, and then their knees would be jacked up for a month or two, or something would happen. And then, we started easing into the pace and going much slower, and they got up to like 45, 50 miles of easy running, no injuries. They got waived. They took an hour off of their time. So, like, to me, I mean, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. If you can go from running 12 miles a week and you're hurt to running 50 miles a week and you take an hour off your time and you're not hurt, what do you say to that?
That's the big key right there, not being hurt.
Yeah.
You know, not getting those, just like I'm sure you all the run clients you talk to, it's like, it was working, but then my knee was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I can run 12
I was
miles.
on pace for my 3-hour marathon and then my knee fell off.
Yes.
Yes.
Very tragic.
Yes, it was. What mile was that? I was like, man, I made it all the way to mile 10. I was like, well, you had another 16 miles with no knee?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I fought my way through. So, yeah, I think it's that's funny. That's funny. What's another one? What's something else, maybe another mistake that you find that you've made?
Of the training?
Yeah, like training things you've done.
I'd say kind of piggybacking off what we just said, not building the aerobic base.
Okay.
Like just constantly needing to go fast, not doing the slow work, not really building the miles. Just like, I know we talk to a lot of people who want to go do marathons and like they want big goals, but they're like, you ask them how many miles they run a week. They're like, oh, like 6. I'm like, that's not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
That's gonna, I even like on something like HYROX, when I go to all these other events and I meet people who are like, oh, the running's what I don't put as much effort into the running. I always ask, well, what are you running a week? Like, what's your weekly run? They're like, maybe like 6 to 8. I'm like, a week? Or like on a long day? They're like, a week. I'm like, and you've been doing that for how long? They're like, about 4 or 5 months. I'm like, okay, so, we got to talk about what kind of effort you're planning on running and like what your goals are. And you're not really building up enough of a bank, like a mileage bank to like really push your body. So yeah, I think not building that aerobic bank is like a big problem a lot of people have.
Well, I think people get a little confused because, there's like a lot of information out there that's like you shouldn't run because running will make you lose muscle mass.
Yes.
You don't have to do cardio to build muscle and lose weight.
Do this 10-minute HIIT training.
Right. You can, do this kettlebell flow for the next 10 minutes and this is all the cardio you'll need, right? And so those things whereas they are true to an extent, they don't apply to something like HYROX. They don't apply to something like a half marathon or a marathon. Mm-hmm. You have to build an aerobic base.
Yeah.
So, making sure that, you're adding in the zone 2, zone 3 training will allow you the ability to build a big base of aerobic capacity. Without aerobic fitness, you don't have true endurance. So you have to have your heart's ability. I had someone actually at the track the other day, they were like, they were kind of funny the way they put it, but they were like, hey, I want to have a little argument with you. And I was like, okay, let's have an argument. And, I'd said a comment about how 3 things dictate like your pace, like how fast you run.
Okay.
1 is your cadence. So that's how quick your feet are moving. So, how many steps per minute are you taking? 2 is your stride length. So that's how much ground you're covering overall. And so they agreed with me on that. They were like, yeah, that's just simple math. That's whatever. But the third thing I said is your aerobic capacity. How much oxygen can you produce to create that energy? And they were like, I don't see how that plays into your pace. Like that's not going to make you run a faster pace or not. And so I think I think just thinking about it, we kind of went back and forth a little bit, but think about it, I understand what they're saying. Like mathematically speaking, the thing that dictates the pace you're going to run is how fast you're moving and how much ground you're covering. The
mechanics of
right?
it.
So that's very true, which is why I've included it. But your aerobic capacity ultimately, really probably more than anything else, will dictate your body's ability to run a pace. So if I have a higher aerobic base than you do, we could run the same cadence, and for the most part, we could have the same stride length, but I could run faster than you. Maybe not for, like, say, 3 miles, but for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I have the aerobic capacity to continue to go, whereas you don't.
Yeah.
And so, whereas, your cadence and your stride length can lend to help your running and your pace be easier to maintain because it's efficient. Your aerobic capacity is the overall engine that provides the top end speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like we you talk about all the time, the base.
Yes.
That is the base.
The bigger the base.
Yeah. The higher, we talk about VO2 max sometimes. And that's, the body's ability to use oxygen while at a high threshold kind of deal. So, but you can't have a high VO2 max without an aerobic base.
Right.
They're not separate from each other.
No, I don't think people realize that. So, like, right now, if we did probably a scan of VO2 maxes here, right, we're probably all somewhere in the 40s and 50s, I assume.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which is on the upper echelon, okay, depending on what part of the 50s you are and what part of the 40s you are, right? But either way, that's still above average.
Yeah.
Okay. Like elite athletes, especially like a lot of cyclists and stuff like that, they're in the 90s. We're talking 70s, 80s, 90s. So part of why people are like, oh, they're just gifted or whatever. No, they've trained at high elevation. They've trained for years and years and years. They've built in a huge aerobic engine so they can process a higher volume, almost double what we can do. So when they go out and run a 7-minute pace, well, for us, maybe that's fast. For me, maybe that's fast. But for them, that's zone 2. That's conversation. That's singing pace for them. And we're like running, and we're lactate threshold, maybe on the edge of freaking or anaerobic, but it's because the amount they can process so much oxygen, and oxygen strictly helps you create energy. Without energy, you can't keep moving.
No.
So if you have a huge aerobic base, that means it takes longer for you to get into your lactate threshold. Well, your lactate threshold is pretty much, for the most part, something you can maintain for about 60 minutes before you see a huge drop-off in performance, because you build up a level of lactate that your blood cannot process through. So you can't recycle it out. And so that's why your lungs start burning, your legs start burning, because there's this buildup of waste that can't be recycled. So to me, it makes perfect sense. If you have a huge aerobic capacity, then that means I can run faster before I get into my lactate threshold. Well, if I can run faster before I have to get into my lactate threshold, that means ultimately I can run further longer.
It's kind of like the aerobic, bigger the capacity, like we talk about, gives you a bigger 20%, gives you the keys to the harder stuff, to get into more harder stuff, or the really tough workouts. They're really pushing yourself. But if you don't have that engine, if someone, like I said, is running 5 miles a week, 6 miles a week, and here's a bunch of speed work, good luck with that. And trying to hold whatever pace they have, unless it's they're not going to be able to do 10 miles of speed work without being crippled or just hurting themselves.
Yeah. Well, and then here's the deal. Maybe you don't have the time or the effort. Maybe you're injury prone. Maybe you can't run that kind of volume or higher volume. Well, there's other ways you can get aerobic capacity. You could ride the bike.
Yep.
You could swim. You could row. You could ski. As long as you're keeping your heart rate or you're keeping the effort at a low intensity, you are still building aerobic capacity. And I've done that with several athletes where we supplemented some of the running with other aerobic athletes. I mean, I do at least 3 to 4 efforts a week that are 20 to 40 minutes of aerobic capacity that are not runs. So, like at the very least, I do at least 3 that are 30 minutes long a week. So the way I look at that is like, okay, well, if it takes me, and it doesn't usually, but if it takes me 10 minutes to run a mile and I ride for 30 minutes, that means that's 3 miles I'm getting in. So if let's say I do 3 bike rides of 30 minutes a week, well, that's like getting almost like an extra 9 miles of running. Yeah. Aerobically speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yes, you're using a little bit different muscle groups, like the wear and tear on your body's way different, right? So, but aerobically speaking, as long as I'm keeping that zone 2, zone 3 effort, I'm getting the same amount of aerobic fitness as I would be getting from running.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to supplement without beating your body up as much, so that you can do higher volume a little bit quicker, without having to feel like I'm doing all this boring running.
Yes.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Hop on your bike, start pedaling, and watch a little movie.
Yeah, you can do that, right? Or go ride outside or something, right? If you have a bike outside,
Pretty
right?
outside.
Pretty hot.
What about, have you ever done this? Ignored your strength training? I feel like for our group,
That's opposite.
it's kind of the opposite, but definitely I've definitely talked to a lot, because I coach just runners, right?
Yeah.
I coach a lot of marathoners and half marathoners, so that's been something that I see quite often.
I was going to say, I don't think that's anything that anyone in this room or that in our close training circles has an issue with. But I think we've all like encountered a lot of like runners or people who are just into like the cycling or something who don't do a lot of strength training because you don't want to get bulky. You don't want to get too bulky that you have to carry all that extra muscle around.
No, I mean, that's true.
Or that over time.
Or the time.
You know, if you're
a big
doing,
part.
yes, if you're already running, you know, for a marathon, 40 miles a week, and it is hard to fit that time in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally now training a triathlete. Like you're training someone who's training a triathlete. So she is running, cycling, and doing swim work. And so she's constantly just like moving, but like we had lunch and she was saying like, I really need to make sure I'm also getting the strength work in.
Yeah, because it's a lot of repetitive movements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's you know, doing just the basic movements. You know, we're just doing some, you know, basics, just some, you know, hinge movements, squat movements, just nothing super heavy, but just getting the body, making sure there's no imbalances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, just it will in the whatever your sport is, being a more total athlete will help you in that sport, whether it's cycling, you know, swimming. It will just get in the overall muscle, you know, strength will help you produce better results.
Yeah. I think you hit it. I mean, most injuries come from either an imbalance or overuse.
Yeah.
And so when you're running a lot, when you're training for like a half marathon or a marathon, or you're training for triathlon, right? Or even HYROX, because HYROX is the same movements over and over and over again, right? It's just this, you run 8 runs and 8 different workouts. So a lot of people just train those 8 things to be good at those 8 stations. And so if most injuries come from overuse or repetitive, overuse or muscular imbalance. Well, when you're doing a repetitive motion over and over and over again, you're probably going to be overusing particular muscle groups.
Well, you know,
and then that creates an imbalance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. I just came to mind just talking about that is when I pulled my hamstring in track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, I went to a doctor, and they were like, "You're just quad dominant." From all the stuff we do in HYROX.
Yep.
So everything, you know, it's just my quads were generate more power than my hamstrings. So, you know, from that, I've, you know, been more focused on making sure my strength work includes a little bit more hamstring, whether it's RDLs. I like, you know, kind of doing banded Nordic curls, just really hitting those hamstrings. And I feel that's helped me get faster.
Yeah.
You know, just being more balanced in my legs.
Nice. That's good. That's good. Well, you had an imbalance. You had an injury.
Yeah.
Showed that you had an imbalance. You addressed it.
Yeah.
And that can only be done, honestly, through doing targeted strength training, right?
Yeah.
I say targeted, doing specific weight training or strength training to address those issues.
Yep.
So what about poor nutrition?
I am guilty of that one often.
As in, like, hampering, or have we been guilty
I'd
of
say
it?
it's a huge sin.
I'm very guilty about it. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I think it's especially like you say, we're all busy. Everyone's trying to like get their runs in, get all their things in, take care of their families, do work, everything. And so it's really sometimes it feels like an inconvenience, feels like a burden to have to prepare yourself a nutritious meal or to feed yourself, period, sometimes. So
it does take some preparation.
Yeah.
Just like your run plan, I mean, you have to have a plan. If I am, you know, I tend to eat the same foods. You know, I love sourdough toast in the morning, some eggs.
Yep.
You know, I'll have a protein shake. I have a few staples that I just know I'm going to eat in part of the day, and then the other stuff I might just be a little more varied on what we have for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, but I think for me, it's just trying to get enough calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's where you either fall in 2 camps. Either I'm working out so hard I can eat whatever I want, you know, and y'all know how I feel about that. You know, I've seen groups before who are like, we're running 5Ks so we can eat donuts and
I'll say they go get
cookies and everything else. I'm like, you ain't running enough to justify those kind of calories, playa. So
I did your little nutrition training years ago, and that really kind of, I mean, in a sense, you kind of put it, I remember you did like a little diagram of, I can't remember what it was, something in a pizza, and which one was more nutritious.
Oh, yeah, the pizza and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yes, and it was like the pizza, its macro were better than the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, and people would have picked the peanut butter and jelly sandwich as being healthier.
So that's where I've kind of learned on my macros, where I'm not like sitting there weighing everything out. I have a good idea. Okay, I'm getting a lot of fat in this right here. So for my protein shake later, I'm not going to put any peanut butter in it because I know I've reached my fat count kind of deal. So it's just kind of making those small little choices gets my macros to, you know, what I want of, you know, a little bit more on the carb side and then, you know, balanced with the fat and protein.
Right. Well, that's the other side you mentioned, like sometimes you struggle with not enough food. So you're either in the camp of I can do whatever I want and eat as much as I want, and usually you're not eating as much as you want. You're just eating the
guilty
a
pleasures.
lot of the stuff you want to eat, right? Or because you're maybe not paying attention, you're not eating it. You're not getting enough calories in to sustain the effort you're putting forth. So it can make you tired, fatigued, whatever. And so, it's like going out and buying a really nice, expensive car, and then going down to like the crappy gas station down there that only sells crappy unleaded fuel. I mean, you can literally see like the chunks of metal coming out of the thing, water filling up in it. So it's like you're spending all this money on sweet tires and sweet leather and, all this other stuff, but then you're just putting this crap fuel in it and you're expecting it to perform at a high intensity.
Going to the quick stop with your Ferrari and there's a crackhead out there.
Exactly.
That's where you're feeling. That's why the picture I'm picturing.
Fill me up, crackhead.
Cleaning your windshield.
Yeah, it's like, I got you. Yeah. So, that's what I think about with nutrition. Am I guilty sometimes of doing that? Of course, right? What I'm guilty of is the same thing, not getting enough.
Yeah.
So, I probably eat cleaner and better and still probably more food than a lot of those people out there. But it's still probably not always, unless I'm paying attention to it. It's just too easy for me to not get enough. And it's because from day to day, my nutrition needs are different.
Yeah.
Right? So like on days like Mondays, I don't need as many calories because I'm going pretty easy. I'm sitting around all day, so I'm not burning that many calories. But days like Tuesday and days like freaking Thursday and days like Saturday and Sunday, I may burn 4,000 calories in a day. Well, if I'm eating the way I'm eating on Monday, I am definitely going to be in a huge deficit.
Yeah.
So, we always talk about on our training, like the number one goal every week in our calendar is to hit our weekly mileage. That's like the number one goal. We obviously have like little parameters and things within that we try to work toward, but we try to make sure that at the end of the week we hit our weekly goal, because that weekly goal will ultimately lead to your overall monthly goal, your training block, all that good stuff, right?
Yes.
The same thing kind of applies to nutrition. If you want to we'll use lose weight because a lot of people like to lose weight, like fat specifically. If you want to lose 1 pound of body fat, not just weight, but body fat, very specific, you have to burn 3,500 calories. Okay? 3,500 calories is equal to 1 gram or 1 pound of body fat. Okay? Well, if you take 3,500 and you divide it by 7, because there's 7 days in a week, that's 500 calories. Mm-hmm. So that means every day, if you want to lose 1 pound of fat, you need to burn 500 more calories than you eat. Mm-hmm. It's just simple math. That's it.
Yeah.
So if today I'm eating, 2,400 calories, and tomorrow I'm eating 2,400 calories, and the next day I'm eating 2,400 calories, those all add up. But if all those days I'm not burning 2,900 calories, I could be in a major deficit at the end of the week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if there's days I'm burning 4,000 or days I'm burning 3,000, by the end of the week, I could be in a calorie deficit of like 5,000 or 6,000. Well, remember, I'm only supposed to be burning 3,500.
Yeah.
Well, if that is happening, that means that my body is not getting the fuel it needs, probably also not the carbohydrates it needs to fuel those efforts. And so since that is happening, my body goes into this very specific state where it's trying to survive and get energy.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of times it will take that energy from your muscle tissue.
Yeah.
It'll start eating muscle to sustain. And so I think that's why people feel like running makes you lose muscle mass.
Yeah.
It's not because running does that or cardio does that. It's because probably more than likely you're not fueling for the additional calories you're burning.
Yeah.
So like if you go and y'all worked out today, right?
Yeah.
Did you pay attention at all to what you burned?
600 calories.
Dude, dang, he was ready.
I think mine was closer to like 500. But
How long did it take y'all to do the workout?
It took, I didn't include the 5-minute rest, but it was like 42 minutes.
42 minutes. All right. So if you went and did a 42-minute run, okay, outside in this weather we have right now, okay, would you burn 600 calories?
No, I don't think so.
Zone 2?
If I kept it in zone 2, no.
No. How many calories do you think you'd burn?
350? 400?
400 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe 300-400 calories.
Yeah.
Okay, so 600, 400, which is more?
600.
600.
Yeah.
Okay, so technically, if you weren't eating enough calories and you were doing those kinds of workouts every day, burning 600 calories, you would actually be losing less than you would be with running.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now let's flip it.
Okay.
That was a workout that you did, that hard workout?
Yeah.
Because it was 42 minutes.
Yeah.
What's the hardest effort you do in running every week?
Probably my tempo work. No, Sundays.
How long does Sunday take?
Probably less than 40 with the rest or everything.
Just the effort in general.
In general, with the rest, probably an hour.
Okay. How many calories you burn on Sunday?
Over 1,000.
Easy.
Like, yeah, it's
right.
Good.
So it's only maybe 18 minutes longer.
Yeah.
But you're doubling the calorie expenditure because the efforts are completely different.
Yes.
Right. The intensity of that effort is crazier. So if you realize that, if you don't fuel for that, understanding that I need more calories, then you're going to probably lose muscle mass because you're not fueling for energy.
Can I just make a little side note for the listeners? Is if you're not sure how to find that out, 90% of your listeners, you probably have a smartwatch.
Yeah.
It will be in your smartwatch. Your resting metabolic rate tells you your base calories, what you need for the day, not including exercise.
Yeah.
So it's a quick.
And it may not be 100% accurate, but it's pretty close.
It'll give you an idea.
It gives you a very good idea.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's calculators out there. You can figure that out.
Yeah.
But it'll give you a really good guesstimation of what your average is. And so that helps you kind of figure out. And I would guarantee, like I would almost 100% guarantee 99% of the people out there are not eating enough food.
No, 100%.
If they're training like the kind of training we're talking about, from between half marathon training, and I don't want to be mean, so please don't take it this way.
Be mean.
But that's why there's so many like runners out there that don't look like athletes necessarily.
Skinny fat.
Yes.
I'll say it.
They look soft, they're maybe a little frumpy, because they're probably not, their nutrition doesn't match the training.
I mean, yes, and I think sometimes that leads to they're running too hard, too much. They're in that middle area, like they said, they're over, like probably burning muscle in the higher zones and not fueling properly. So it's a hand in hand kind of issue.
They go together. So nutrition is a huge thing. I mean, that's a big part, not just for the way you look, but overall for performance. And I think there's like, we've talked about it before, but like, there's been some bad connotations with like, or stigma over like, say, carbohydrates. There's some bad, connotations or a stigma for just eating food in general. Like for whatever reason, food makes you fat, right? Or I don't even know. Like I'm trying not to say stuff and I want to so bad.
Trying not to get canceled here.
I'm not worried about getting canceled. I'm worried about getting people mad at me or run out of the room crying because you know how Carlos is.
Sensitive.
He's very sensitive.
Talking about my Saturday donuts, don't do it.
Yeah, this fool. So if I look at him funny, he's going to be like, look at him. He's trying to laugh it off right now.
Yes.
It's that age.
That's it.
I'm pretty sure that on the days where I'm just like not putting any effort into my nutrition, James is like, I always think, you probably aren't. This is probably more in my head.
I'm not paying attention to
I would say, I always like think James is probably staring at me like eating my little like girl dinner like lunches and like snacks of just like whatever I like dug up from the bottom of my bag or got from a Target or something.
No, I'm not. I honestly don't pay attention.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Don't.
And for a couple reasons. Number one is because I don't know what you're doing the rest of the day.
Fair enough.
So that's a very small sample size. So that would be unfair to you. Second of all, I feel like I have talked ad nauseum about like proper nutrition. I've made offers of like food that I make for you.
It's all very delicious.
And you've like nah. So like
I never make that face.
I have learned. I'm trying to learn when to offer assistance and advice and when to just keep my mouth shut.
That last soup you made was very delicious.
What soup?
You made like a chicken soup, like a chicken veggie soup or something, like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it was like kind of like a ramen.
It was delicious.
No, it was chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
I'll always take foods that don't feel
good.
like any sort of. I'm going to be offended.
Well, you can thank Lauren. I only bring enough for me now.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lauren.
I used to bring enough that like I could make
I'm
for
saving
two,
you money.
And then I could.
Thanks again,
that way
Lauren.
I could give because it doesn't take any less time or any more time to cook for two as it does for one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste food. So, but now
I think
I'm like,
one time
screw it.
he did offer though, and I was like, oh, I don't know if Leah's coming in, so I'll make sure I leave just a little tiny amount of.
No, oh my God.
He comes back and he goes like, "Why did you leave? Not even like a handful of
It
chicken."
wasn't enough for like
a person,
a baby to eat. Like it was, and I was like, why did you leave like 2 fries and like it was something, I forgot what it was.
It was a ridiculous amount of food to leave behind.
Yeah, she's like, well, I didn't want to eat it all.
My wife cooks for 40, no matter what
Yeah,
the deal is.
always plenty of leftovers.
And she don't like leftovers, so so I'll eat it all week.
Carlos
but-
is eating well.
I'll eat it, but
So I think another thing as well, other than poor nutrition, is like ignoring mobility stuff, right? Ignoring mobility and basically working on like your flexibility and your body's movement. I mean, that's what mobility is, right? It's the body's ability to move.
Yeah, but it's not the sexy stuff. It's not as fun to post on Instagram if you're not pushing something heavy. So I think that's why, people overlook it. But the sexy stuff is what gets me.
I don't know if that's why people don't do it. I think, and I could be wrong. It probably is some of that.
I think it's also people don't know how.
And that's probably another part, yes. And I think also because it's uncomfortable. Because it's like foam rolling can be painful.
yes.
Right? I mean, doing active release can hurt. Stretching, there's certain moves you do. It feels good afterwards, and you know it's going to feel better. But in the moment, it's like, this freaking hurts.
Yeah.
And they don't, like I said, I have a client that I stretch, and she will be like, I was like, how do you feel? Good until you show me where I'm sore, kind of deal. So it's usually I put a foam roller and just their legs, and it's like, ow, ooh.
I had an athlete the other day. We were talking, and we were sitting down, and I was like, so how are things? Oh, good. How are you feeling? Good. I was like, so you haven't had any kind of aches or pains? No. I'm good. I'm feeling good. Okay, so your Achilles feels fine. Have you ever had any pain on the back of your? Well, what's your Achilles? And I was like, the thing on the back of your leg. There's that. Well, and every time I hear, well, I know what that means. And so we said something else, and I was like, so like, what about like on the inside or the outside of your knee? Well, sometimes, but it goes away. I was like, all right, so if it's going away, that's a good thing. But that also means that's a sign that we need to start addressing it, like doing some preventative stuff so that it doesn't become a major issue. And so while we were talking and we mentioned the Achilles, I was like, well, let me see something real quick. Do you mind if I touch you? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So I was like, I put my thumb right on the back of her calf.
She like go to the ground.
I'm not even kidding. I barely pressed in. And like, you would have thought I had just tried to stab her with a freaking butcher knife because she's like, ah! And I was like, okay, well, let's. And so I was like, well, let me show you some stuff with the foam roller. So I got the foam roller out, and she got on top of it, and like her demeanor was just like
rigid,
like she was in so much pain. I was like, yeah, we probably need. You've got some impingements, you've got some sort of adhesions in there. We got to let's see if we can work that out a little bit, and you'll probably feel better. Obviously, there are sometimes pains you can work through.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes people feel like there's supposed to be pain, and that's just part of the game.
Yes, it's kind of with mobility. It's don't wait till something hurts.
Yes,
Try to be more proactive than all of a sudden my hips can't move. Let's start doing some stretches. I'll have a client, and I'll occasionally get a lobster text saying they're crustaceous.
Oh, lobster text.
It'll just be a lobster symbol. I was like, all right, let's come on in. So
yeah,
it's just kind of trying to stay on top of it, just with the nutrition. It's just all part of the weekly plan. It should be. What is your plan for it? Is like main things: foam rolling, stretching. Like I tell people all the time, find a routine what feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you go to the sign, you can start reading any article. Stretching is not good for you. Stretching is good for you. Foam rolling, don't foam roll. So I always tell people find a routine that feels good for you. Does this stretch help you? Do you feel better in the morning? Then do it.
Yeah.
I'll show people, hey, this is what I do at night. A little foam rolling, just a few stretches here, and I feel way better the next day. And so, but some person might do the stretch, like I don't feel anything. So it's just kind of a personal kind of preference.
Well, I find it's a combination, right? So where yes, does foam rolling help? Yes. Can you probably do too much foam rolling? Maybe, right? Does stretching help? Yes. Can you maybe do too much static stretching and it may have a negative effect? Yes. Is active stretching good? Yes. Is ice bath good? Yes. Are Epsom salt baths good? Yes. All of that is kind of like in moderation at the right times and all that other stuff, right? What's that face for?
Sorry. No, I was trying to not make a face, but I'm pretty sure. Did you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, we both heard it. Good.
What?
We both heard it. You started to say ice bath and then you corrected it like you thought you said it wrong, but the way you corrected it didn't sound better. It sounded worse. It sounded like you went from ice to ASS baths.
I said ice baths, I think is what I think I
That's
I
not what
meant
it sounded
bath.
like.
I meant bath.
No,
Bath.
it sounded like.
It did sound like ass bath.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I was trying to be PG, but yes.
You can get it. You can get it.
I'm just glad.
I'm
we're
hoping
feeling
you're all
part of
taking
it.
those kind of. You're cleaning that
it's
thing.
recommended.
It's highly
didn't-
recommended.
I didn't
Clean
say
that booty,
anything, and then I saw her look at me, and I tried not to chuckle. So
I
I
was
was trying to.
See, that's the challenge. She always focuses on the wrong things.
Nope. Ready to pounce.
Yeah.
She is ready to
Get 'em.
It was funny.
Get them
This is really funny.
locked in. Ready
locked
to-
in.
Yeah.
But there are the right time to wash your butt, and there's times when you just leave it nasty. I guess I don't know.
No,
As
there's
a runner, you
don't
know.
leave it
As
nasty.
a runner,
Guys,
you know. You don't want.
Don't
That's
come to
right.
the gym with a gross booty.
So,
Clean that booty.
but like there are some studies that show like ice baths can limit muscle growth.
Yes.
But there are plenty of proven studies that show that ice baths help in recovery, inflammation, and so they help you recover quickly to go out and do stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't take an ice bath right after a hard strength session. Maybe you take an ice bath on a recovery day before a hard strength session or a hard speed day. Yes, does static stretching maybe can cause issues or maybe doesn't address some of the issues you might have? Yes. So maybe instead of doing it before you do it, maybe you do it after you
when
work
the muscles
out.
are warmed up.
When the muscles are already warmed up and more pliable. If doing some sort of foam roll, or not the foam, but the gun, right? Can the gun be extremely helpful? Yes, it helps increase blood circulation, but it can also you can overdo it, right? Because it's a very high impact. It beats the muscle up, and you can sometimes overdo it.
Yeah.
So if you're taking bits and pieces, and this day I do this day I do that, well, I think it adds variety. It maybe is not as bad. You're always constantly working on it, and anything you're being consistent with is always going to be better than if you just wait and then you're like, okay, now it's time to hurt. Then it makes your life much more manageable and much. So I use all of it.
I was going to say, I think you can also take a little bit of everything and create a routine.
Yes.
For sure. You don't have to just do the percussion gun. You don't have to just do foam rolling. 5 minutes of one, 10 minutes the other, and maybe end it with a nice long stretch session.
If I'm lazy, I'll grab the gun while I'm on the couch. So
You're just
I
sitting
don't feel
there.
like it. I'm just tired. After Tuesday, I think I just had the gun. I was just sitting on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think those are going to be important things, and making sure that you take the time to not ignore the preventative stuff, the recovery stuff, the mobility stuff. And I think the way you mentioned it as well was you said you're not you're not putting it into your plan. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes most people make is they don't actually have a plan. They're not strategizing what they're going to do. I mean, how many people do you know that, all right, let's use school, for example. If you are going to go to school, you have to you go to usually a counselor or something like that, and you plan out, how am I going to get to this degree?
You have a
what
curriculum, you have a
classes,
schedule.
When am I going to take these classes? How am I going to fit these in? I mean, it's pretty regimented to be able to get you to whatever. And if you don't do a good job of planning that out, well, then the first thing that happens is you take classes you don't need to take.
Yep.
And the credits don't count towards your major.
Yep.
The next thing that happens is you end up having to take extra classes. And so it takes you longer to get to where your goal is because you didn't do what you should have done in the beginning. Yeah. So when you don't plan it out, you end up causing yourselves additional not injuries, but issues, maybe spending more money, taking longer time. Whereas if you'd have just gone in with a great plan in the beginning and worked it out, then you'd have been, where you want to go. So it's the same thing applies to this. If you don't have a plan, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be super regimented.
Perfect.
It doesn't have to be super regimented. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Just saying, I'm putting 10 minutes here at this time at night. Just dedicating that time or whatever. Or like you said, after you work out, I'm not going to rush, leave the gym. I'm going to spend a designated time here and for the whatever recovery.
Yeah. Well, I think even more so than that, on this day, I'm going to do this. Mondays is this stuff. I'm running or I'm riding or I'm doing strength training.
Yeah.
Tuesday is this. And it all kind of works together basing off of some sort of parameters. Give yourself you got to live by some sort of direction and rules. And, because, I think some people think of rules or, I call them the 5 golden rules of running, and realistically it's for me, it's the 5 golden rules of training. Mm-hmm. And so I think sometimes people hear the word rules and they automatically just think negative. It's a negative connotation. It's keeping me from being live. I can't be free and be me, and I can't live my life and be adventurous. what rules really do, and what they give you these boundaries to work within, so that you actually have the freedom to do the things you want and need to do. But if you don't give yourself boundaries and you're just footloose and fancy free and all over the place, you have no direction, and you really honestly are not going to be able to enjoy the fullness of the adventure.
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of taking back to the school thing you mentioned, which I think is a great analogy. You go to college, you can't take Bio 2 without taking Bio 1 first because it's the prereq. If you try to just go into Bio 2, you're probably going to fail. You're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to be caught up. If you try to get into running and you go straight to those hard sprint efforts before you like build up any aerobic base, learn the basics of running, you're probably going to end up with an injury.
Yeah. I'll give you another example because I think I've been doing a good job lately of giving like these really good analogies.
You have been.
I've been putting them together really well.
Good ones.
Perfect example. Let's say you plan a trip to the United Kingdom, okay? And you go out and you're like, okay, I want to go to this place. I'm going to ride the train to get here. I'm going to see these cities, these towns, whatever. I'm going to make sure I know when those trains and buses are going to fly or are going to be rolling, and I'm going to hit those and make sure I'm on time so I can see all these different things, and then I can get back at a decent time where I can eat dinner.
That's responsible.
Okay?
Planning.
And that's planning. And then you get to have these wonderful adventures in these little towns. Then you might have somebody who's like, I love to live footloose and fancy free. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this map and say, I think I can make that bus. And then you get stuck. Yeah. And then you're out till 2 a.m. and you almost get stolen and put into slavery.
Yeah.
And you have a great story to tell.
Yeah.
But you only got to see one of the 5 things that maybe the planned person got to see. You also don't get any sleep. And you're also bothering the person and sleeping on their couch in the middle of the night because you came back too late to go to your place.
And you probably had like 5 nervous breakdowns throughout that
yes.
experience.
Yes. And you were stressing out the other person because they were worried about you.
Shame on that person.
Daughter.
Did you not think that was a good analogy?
I was giving you a nice compliment, and then you got to come and bring that back up. Yes.
I figured we need like a sound effect for Tales of Lauren.
It needs to be like a little, like a glitter sound.
Yeah, I was actually what I was thinking about. It's like, remember that Lowered Expectations?
Yeah.
Lowered Expectations.
That's a good one, actually.
That would be
Tales
like,
of Lauren.
Yeah, Tales of Lauren. And we're back.
And we're back.
Oh, man. So, but I think you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. And like I said, it doesn't have to be like dying the wool, like every second or every hour of every day has to be ready. And some people are better that way, but you got to have some sort of parameters of what you're working in and in a place that you're going, like some sort of target and a roadmap to get there.
Like an outline for the week.
Yes.
Like we kind of talked about the mileage earlier, about banking it in. So we know the certain amount of mileage we have and, you know, what we're trying to get through the week. Life happens.
Yes.
Something works, something that comes up, kid's sick, but you try to adjust for these. Okay, I need to, you know, add maybe a mile on that run. Not the long run, though. But any other, you know, putting in the miles or maybe doing 2 a day, you know, a couple miles here. And you know, like sometimes I have like a 4 mile on my plan and I'm in a rush in the morning. I'll do 2 miles in the morning and then I'll do another 2 in the evening.
Yeah.
My miles in.
Yeah. So, and I think the only way you can work around that stuff is if you actually have a plan for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we usually are creatures of habit. We have pretty, you know, succinct schedules. I mean, we're probably a little more, a little different than most people because like our schedules change so much based off of appointments.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is that we're doing. But even with that, for the most part, even in that, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yes, there's some changes here and there, but you know you're going to be doing some kind of work or some kind of busyness throughout. And so you kind of pre-plan already. So you know that, you know, if I'm going to get it done today, like if I'm supposed to run today, I know I'm either going to have to do it at this time or this time. And so if I don't do it, get up early, that means I'm going to have to do it later. I'm not going to do it in the middle of the day because it's 450,000 degrees outside and I don't want to burst into flames. So you're going to have to make a decision and a choice. But some people are just like, oh man, you know what? I think I need to go run today.
Yes.
Or I want to go run today, or I'm going to go for a run today. And their run is just like their, 10-minute run before they go work out and lift weights. And that's their run. That's what they consider their zone 2 run. So I think if you really want to set yourself up for overall success, you have to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. You've got to focus on aerobic base building. You got to do the mobility stuff. You got to so it's all, I think what it really comes down to is the details.
Yeah.
That's what life really is. It's the small things. Mm-hmm. A lot of people focus on the big things. They look at the big adventures. They do whatever. But I think someone once said, how you do the little things is how you do everything. So if you focus on attention to the small things, right? Or it's probably, I think the way it actually goes, how you do one thing is how you do anything is how you do everything. But I think really it's like, what kind of attention do you give to the small stuff? Because it's the little bitty things that add up that make the big things. Yes. And if you can't be responsible, or you can't be focused on the little stuff, when the big stuff comes, it's going to be too overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's going to be too much, right? So people saying, oh, they don't start training for their marathon until, 8 weeks before, right? They're like, I need to go out, start running 13 miles and, getting 50 miles in a week or what have you. Well, if you couldn't do 10 miles a week, what makes you think you're going to be able to do 50 miles a week? Yeah. It doesn't work that way. You have to work your way up to it. Yeah, prayer and supplication, yes, fasting. So I think that if you focus on those little things like nutrition and recovery and sleep and food, that's already nutrition, but making a plan, the aerobic conditioning, not running race pace all the time, actually going into it with like a focused idea of what it is I want to do, that's when you start seeing your goals and your dreams come to fruition and you become much more successful.
Yeah, and then with all this kind of topics we talked about, just making little tweaks, a lot of little changes. A little change in the diet. Just add a little bit more protein each day. Don't feel like you have to make a complete change. See people make these big swings over. I'm following it strict right now, and they burn out after a week.
Right.
Just add a little bit more protein, a little bit more carbs. Like you said, on days you're working longer efforts, and just make 5 minutes a day for stretch. Just make a lot of little changes throughout the week. Will end up with big results.
No, I agree. I mean, so I think that would be the thing. So how do I start this? Pick one or two things.
Yeah.
Pick one or two things to get good at, whatever they are, right? Probably the biggest one that you could start doing is just make a plan. Make an actual plan of what you're going to do for the next 7 days.
Yeah.
We work off of 4-week training blocks. So that means that we plan out the next 4 weeks, where we build, and then do a little recovery efforts during the 4th week. But make a plan. And if you do that, well, then what you'll find, if you plan in things like recovery, if you plan in things like aerobic efforts, you'll start hitting some of these other things like without even having to work that hard.
Yeah.
So if you plan for it, and then, which is the hard part, but it's the part of the discipline, is even when you feel good, you don't do extra because you feel good.
Yes.
Because that's the goal, is to keep feeling good.
Yes.
But then the flip side of that, maybe that's the David Goggins mentality, is even when you're not feeling your best, you still do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I always try to say we're not a slave to anything. We're not a slave to, our heart rate. We're not a slave to our pace. We're not a slave to how we feel. But we use all of those as metrics, and we use those as measuring sticks to determine what our effort looks like and how well our training is going. Mm-hmm. And so we use those parameters, we use those metrics to help us get better. But we don't let any of them determine what we're going to do from day to day. So do I feel perfect today? Maybe not. I'm still going to go train. Do I feel amazing today? Yes. I'm not going to go run a threshold effort for 10 miles just because I have the energy to do it. So this is the reason why. This is the biggest reason why for me. Yes, it builds discipline, all that good stuff. It, teaches you to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But you're not guaranteed on race day that things are going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You don't know you're going to feel your best. That's the goal, ultimately. You don't know if the weather's going to be perfect. You don't know if the race course is going to be amazing. There's no guarantees that on race day everything's going to be perfect. So whatever, we've said this over and over again, but you don't do anything new on race day. So you put yourself in every situation you can possibly be in to help fully prepare you for the race. And so you may have a stomach issue, you may be having your menses, you know what I'm saying? Your Aunt Flo may be in town. It may be, maybe you ate something weird, or maybe you ate your normal thing, but there was something wrong with it because you were out of town, you're at a restaurant or something, your belly's not working right for you. There's any number of things that can happen. And if you've trained in all situations, then you'll be prepared and you'll know how to address it and how to handle it.
Yep.
I actually had a race. It was last year's Dallas HYROX where I wasn't feeling that well.
Yeah.
But I remembered, I kind of went back to one of our Sunday days, and I can't remember why I didn't feel well. And I was like, I wasn't going to go out there. Then I was like, okay, I'll go out there. I'm just going to run. I think we went to that other park, and I was like, I'm just going to go run. I'm going to run half of what they're running. And I was like, getting ready to take off, and there I was getting ready to go, and we run my easy laps, and Jess was like, oh, come on. And she's like, "Oh no, I'll run with you." I was like, "Yeah," but she pushed the heck out of me, and I was able to really hold the efforts, and that kind of I went back to that moment come race day. I was like, I don't feel that great, but I know I can push.
Yeah,
and so that was kind of like in the training, exactly what you said. So I just put it to practice.
That's awesome. I think on that note, that's how we're going to close it out. So that was awesome. So I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, let us know down in the comments below. Let us know by also ranking the show. You can go to, if you're watching on Spotify or listening on Spotify, you can definitely rank us and let us know how you're loving us. If you're not following us already, you can check us out on Running with James on Instagram. You can also follow Lauren at The Backyard Bohemian. You can follow Carlos at Los 200. And then if you just want to follow the coach, BC Coach James as well.
Man.
And then check out the things we got going on. If you want to support the show, you can do so by becoming a Patreon member at patreon.com/runningwithjames, or go check out our website, mybcfit.com, and you can get some swag. So not only do you support us, but you look sweet when you're out there getting those planned workouts in. So, guys, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you. And remember, as always, when you change your mind,
You
change your life.
Peace out.
Change your mind, change your life.